they won the flip and they took second pick, and to me that very much says, hey, we want last pick because we want to give Abed the free game, basically. Like, I think everyone agrees at the moment Radiant seems so much better than Dire, but they're willing to play on Dire just to secure the fact that Abed is going to have that game-winning hero. So to me, it really doesn't make any sense to pick the AA here and then put Abed on it and then pick your Jabs hero last. It's just not very sensible.
With Abed having the last pick, though, a lot of these heroes that really he is proficient on is countered by the Nyx, right? So, you know, obviously his Invoke, even the Meepo can get relatively locked down by, you know, not just the Nyx Assassin, but also the Disruptor. So there are a few counter picks that, you know, Warriors Gaming may have preempted by seeing that second pick, but I'm sure that he'll be able to pull something up for us.
My concern for Warriors Gaming at the moment is that they have a bunch of do-nothing heroes if their early game goes badly. Like, Morphling is a weird one in the sense that if he's up against the right heroes, then I think he becomes a do-something hero in the first, like, 10-15 minutes, where you have somebody that you can morph into and have a really big impact. Like, you know, talk about a hero like a Queen of Pain or a Lina, something like that, where you can get some really good nukes by morphing, but not really the case here. And the Disruptor and the Nyx Assassin, if they fall behind, like, that's trouble. They just don't do anything without levels. And they're not particularly strong laning heroes necessarily either, so...
Particularly compared with the Shadow Shaman and the AA, right?
Yeah,
like Shadow Shaman, probably one of the strongest laning supports in the entire game, and AA as well. We mentioned before the change to that Chilling Touch just makes it such a safe harass mechanism to be able to have in the...
10 seconds
So if this was a previous patch, I would say that Kunkka ban would maybe lead us into like a Broodmother or something, but that hero just...
doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, well, I think people just aren't trying to make it work anymore. Like, the ancient camps got deleted and moved away, and it's just like, well, that was the playstyle for Broodmother. You just sat mid, farmed ancients with your spiders, got 2 or 3 items ahead of everybody, and completely crushed the game. So I think that hero still has some potential, but probably not going to see it for a while. Probably needs a couple of like those notice me buffs, where you give a hero like an almost inconsequential buff, but you put them in the patch notes so people start thinking about it again.
Yeah.
I think that's what it needs. But anyway, I don't know what it's going to be for mid. Do you have any predictions for this mid pick?
For Warriors Gaming?
For Fnatic. I think Warriors Gaming might have the Morphling run mid if they're given the right opportunity. That's the other thing for them. If it's a hero with low base damage, then Morphling's going to go there and give them a hard time. If it's a melee hero, Ursa might even go there and give them a hard time. So they have to be careful about what they do. I guess the other option that we haven't talked about is that Fnatic could run the Pango mid, and they could have another hero for Ice Ice Heist if they wanted. So
they could. I feel. How do you feel about Medusa in this mid lane? They've been picking it a decent amount lately, and I feel like they've got enough early game where they're able to put pressure onto Warriors Gaming that it's not going to be too much of an issue. Like, I know you don't want to go too farm heavy, right, with the Lifestealer and Medusa, but I feel like their playstyle kind of fits.
I'd like their mid to have a little bit more catch than that, and for me it's a bit weird to... Okay. Very contested hero. Interesting to see that make it all the way through to the very end here. I don't want Fnatic to just sit back this game. I think they can win by taking the fight to Warriors Gaming. And they could even... I think they could win by grouping up as well. Just kind of around their Radiance timing. The problem for me is if people were playing Lifestealer in a different way, other than like the Midas Radiance, then I think the Medusa would look okay. And maybe if they pick the Dusa, then they could adjust the Lifestealer build to make the Dusa the star instead of the Lifestealer. But to me, it's just weird because it does feel like the Midas Radiance is just the strongest build on Lifestealer. Yeah. So I would much prefer to see...
Well, you mentioned having a lot of catch, right? And the hero that was highly contested. How about the Tiny for the mid lane? You know, it is able to catch if you get that early Blink Dagger up. The laning stage might... Yeah. I think it could potentially work, and it is able to, you know, completely obliterate the Disruptor, Bounty Hunter as well, before he gets those early items, you know, the drums, the medallion. It's actually the OD. Okay, so they're going with the AoE damage.
Okay, OD into the Nyx Assassin and the Disruptor. It's It is certainly good against the Morphling. That's for sure. Like,
Absolutely.
Morphing strength doesn't really help you. Is not a particularly high int hero either. I do also like the potential for the, I guess, the imprisonment save this game somewhat, but
yeah, I mean, is that more in the sense of if the Ursa actually gets onto one of the supports for that sort of save, or
against the Ursa, or if somebody else is stuck in the Static Storm kinetic field, something like that. Even just, you know, Nyx Assassin pops out, breaks and stuns somebody. Just the defensive imprisonment is nice. They just didn't have any defensive options before this pick came out.
And it feels like, you know, if they were to do that, let's say Abed isn't in the Static Storm, they don't really have the follow-up catch on Warriors Gaming. So, you know, if he does that, he's not really as vulnerable as to, you know, immediately get switched to, and they just say, right, you know, Astral's used, let's quickly burst down Abed. I think he should be able to keep some, you know, relatively decent space and range away, just so that he can, you know, be that long-range fighter.
Yeah, and I guess the nice thing about the OD pick as well is I feel like it shores up their late game a lot as well. If you're Fnatic going into this, I think you're quite confident that if the game goes late, you can probably take it just through sheer maneuvering and pickoffs and better ward game and that kind of thing. You know, we've seen just how scary DJ can be in the later stages of the game on the Shadow Shaman. This hero just scales like crazy. You get to the late game, you've got your Ags, you get him a Refresher Shard or something, and Shadow Shaman can be the win condition all by himself. So I have to be wary of that.
Absolutely. I mean, DJ is definitely no stranger to having a high amount of farm. You know, I remember seeing a Tusk game that he played as that position 4 role where he was actually #1 on net worth at the end of the game. And this wasn't just some random, like, small tier event. It was like the last season minor or a major or something like that. It was actually pretty significant.
Oh, Ice. Needs to be careful about running up this hill here. Alright, can take a bit of damage. Does still have the Swashbuckle ready to go. Some damage onto Yamate. Ice playing with fire. Jumps across to the other side. Nuka Baby wants to finish him off, but it will be first blood for DJ. Now they're punching onto the Nyx Assassin a little bit more. Ice still being chased, but pops his salve. He's a little bit behind on the move speed game here, but it'll be okay. And Felix actually in some more trouble. He's going to get forced all the way underneath the tower. He's got good regen. Should be okay. But Fnatic making a bid for 3 of the 4 bounty runes here. Oh, who's going to get the click up on top? Okay, looks like Ohio's going to get that one, but Fnatic should get the other 3.
Yeah, just getting that constant harass onto Felix. You know, he doesn't really want to be using this many tangos early on. Obviously has the good base regen with a tango almost up to 14 points per second, but...
Where's he going? Is he running top? Is that the...
I guess so. Maybe they were just wanting to contest that early rune. Well, they ended up losing it, right?
I wonder if he's trying to keep his TP open to swap lanes. If they need.
It's typically the person that moves first loses in terms of the you know, musical chairs of switching the lanes. So just wanted to keep all options open to himself, and see Jabs will be spamming out that chilling touch every 15 seconds or so, and probably maxing it out in the early game.
Yeah, this is pretty nice. Yamate coming in, trading some damage as well. Mid lane, OD versus the Morphling. Morphling with a lot of base damage, but OD not a slacker either. Does have pretty good last hitting power. So how do you think these lanes are gonna play out overall? Do you see a clear advantage one way or the other? I'm not really sure, to be honest.
I think top lane's definitely going to go Fnatic's way, just because DJ is the one that got that first blood. He's already got the boots of speed. He's able to harass Ohio in this way. He's got the shackles available, or he definitely can use it right now, but chooses not to.
Steps the stun, just gonna walk on back. How's the lane control is not great though. It is pushing pretty heavily towards the Warriors Gaming side. So DJ really wants to run a pull to get this dragged back, but Felix not gonna give him the opportunity. Will push him all the way back. DJ really wants this though. No, okay, not gonna be able to get it. So that's a lot. That's gonna be a lot of experience for this bounty hunter. Mid lane,
absolutely.
Oh my god, Abed is crushing him.
Yeah, typically don't want to be this far behind very early into the game, and see the Disruptor actually went down.
Oh, I didn't see it, but yeah, he did. He did die. Oh, DJ in trouble here. One more stun. Felix, one more auto attack will do it. Ohio takes a few more hits of his own, but MP doesn't want to hand over any gold to him, so... Alright.
Felix has been doing a good job, you know, disrupting the pulls, getting kills, constantly harassing out DJ.
Oh, they're going on to Yamate. Alright, Cold Feet not going to proc, and now Ice actually in some trouble. Nico Baby up in his face. One more auto attack's going to do it. The boots on the Ursa. And the aggressive swashbuckle forward. Fnatic are trading away a couple of kills here. Oh my god, double damage on Abed. Sure, why not?
The rich get richer, basically. Yeah. I mean, if you had to use one word to describe Ice's play, it probably would be aggressive, right? Like, we saw him earlier in the lane, like when that stuff was happening up top, he was just dropping his stout shield right next to the Ursa, trying to bait out any sort of movement from him. Yeah, just be a little bit cheeky.
He's a super chaotic player, that's for sure. I think he plays maybe the mental game better than the majority of offlaners.
Can you think of any reason why they've just hit this Observer Ward once? Okay, there we go. They hit it twice. They de-warded it, but they just hit it once and kind of just left it there. Maybe just try and bait out a deny from
Bait out the deny attempt. That, or maybe they were waiting to use a tango, something like that. Get the bonus regen. Oh, up top. Alright, Felix. Just gonna go for the TP out. He's gonna be okay. Needed to head back and grab some more mana anyway. And pretty decent start for the Nyx Assassin. Like I was saying earlier, not necessarily the best laning hero, but doing
it definitely
well
comes into its own lane. And he's done his job, right? Like, the Bounty Hunter's already level 4, doing alright in terms of the experience, doing well in terms of the last hits, keeping level with the Lifestealer. He's really doing his job.
Yeah, the lanes are actually going better than I expected, though mid lane is looking pretty rough. Abed is playing ultra aggressive. He's under the tower, just putting pressure onto Qian. Felix is going to come in, but this rotation gets spotted, so Abed just takes his leave, heads off to the east. And Fnatic are sizing up a double Midas at the moment. Abed's got one queued up, and the Lifestealer also looking towards one himself. So very much going to fall on the supports and Ice to make any plays in the early game, and it does seem like Fnatic are kind of on this outscaling game plan.
Do you think that could potentially backfire on them, though? Because, you know, the Bounty Hunter can come online a lot quicker once he gets those early items, the phase boots, drums, and maybe a medallion, and just able to rotate around, you know, get these early kills off. You try and snowball based off the track gold.
I think it's only a problem if...
Oh, they could
have wanted this bounty rune. Can take some damage. Felix is coming in, though. Does have the stun available. They're going to look towards DJ. Ohio is dusted up, so just going to stand here and man fight. Ohio, one more auto attack's going to bring him down. DJ just a little bit too tanky. And not quite enough damage. Going back to your question, I think the only way that they're going to get... that they're sort of going to pay for this is if they get the Morphling back into this game in a big way. Because other than the Morphling, they have nobody to hit buildings at all. So I think Fnatic, even if they're losing, they're just not going to lose objectives. And by default, the game's going to end up going a little bit long. Just because Warriors Gaming are so bad at taking towers.
Yeah. I guess it could potentially salvage it if the Nyx ends up having a decent game as well, right? He's one of those natural Meteor Hammer builders, so that can be used as like a former tower push, but you don't really want to be relying on that.
Yeah, I guess for me there's a difference between, like, Meteor Hammer's fairly reliable for taking maybe tier 1s and even tier 2s, but what their lineup lacks is somebody to actually break high ground. And that's a totally different question compared to just pushing the outer towers. And that's what they don't really have. Even Morphling is not a great hero to just sit and siege the high ground, necessarily. Oh, Ohio getting gone on once again. Doesn't actually have a TP scroll here, so he's in a little bit of trouble. That's 2 points in Shackle. Though DJ getting messed around a little bit by the pathing there. They need to stay on top of Ohio. The dust's actually worn off now. He's got the Shadow Walk and a Salve available, so he's going to be okay. Looks like DJ maybe just got blocked by one of the Radiant creeps. As down bottom, we will have Jabs getting caught out. Felix making a rotation down there.
Yeah, he was hanging around in the mid lane for quite a while, and you can see the reason why in terms of last hits. Oh, SSIS, a bit of aggression coming onto him.
Yep. Does have the 1 point in the shield crash. It's going to help with survivability a little bit. Needs to get the swashbuckle out. Actually pushes himself through the kinetic field with the branch. Is that going to keep him alive? He gets over into the trees. Felix doesn't have the stun, but he does have an auto attack to finish him off. Oh, it was a very nice play, but...
Some cheeky gameplay coming out, but...
Yeah.
You know, they do end up getting the kill. Obviously use the TP as well, so it's going to take him a while to get back to it. Could they potentially take down any sort of objective? Probably not. Tower's still mostly healthy, but it just does give Nico Baby that freedom to be able to farm as he sees fit. And in the mid lane as well, you know, I mentioned the Nyx Assassin really just staying around there trying to babysit as much as he could. And the reason behind that, obviously, is have a look at the last hits and denies. Abed way ahead of this Morphling at this point of the game. And, you know, in terms of net worth, he's nearly double.
Yeah, Morphling having a pretty hard time of it. I'm not going to be able to interrupt the pull here. Does swipe a little bit of gold. But in general, I think this early game may be going a little bit worse than Fnatic were hoping for. Jab stacking some camps over here. But still not a disaster by any means. Their two big cores are both finding big farm. And the Morphling is kind of in the bin for now.
And they've got the Midas in the stash on the OD. So, you know, very, very early Midas coming in. Him on top of those two talismans and a boost of speed. So definitely Abed playing his signature style, putting his team on his back.
Looking towards SSIs. They've only got the 1 point in the glimpse here, so a little bit difficult to make it go, and he's just buying some time. The other thing that's scary if I'm looking at Fnatic's lineup is just that DJ is getting a lot of farm. He's already got his arcane boots. He's gonna start spamming clarities. He's probably gonna start spamming his way through the jungle, shoving out waves, and he should have a pretty guaranteed game. Yamate, all right, doesn't get caught by the lucky shot proc. Now it comes out from Ice. Slowed him down a little bit. Abed wants this kill. It's gonna pop the Sanity's Eclipse just to secure that. I think Ice could have maybe finished it, but
maybe for a +5, that seems a little bit greedy. He's going to be up in 10 seconds, right? And the cooldown on it is, what, 2.5 minutes?
Diving on jabs at mid here. One more auto attack. All right, this is what they need. They got to get the Morphling back into the game.
Take out DJ as well. So he was getting very, very close to having his Mass Serpent wards available. As you said, already had the picked up, so he could have just spammed that out, dropped it in lane, created even more pressure for Fnatic, but be a little bit more passive. But as I said before, we have the Midas available here for Abed. He's got 2 uses out of it so far, so continues to have a very strong early game.
And Warriors Gaming just getting the kind of run at you items going, multiple drums getting queued up. Nico Baby, this is a pretty interesting rotation, perhaps a little bit unexpected if you're MP, that the Ursa is up here in your lane, and he doesn't actually have the Infest available. Rage TP is there, but I think there's a little bit too much damage from the Ursa. We'll see. Yep. Enrage and maxed out Fury swipes. Nico Baby brings him down easily.
Track gold as well.
It's a really nice rotation. Again, they're still going to struggle to take out this tower, I think, but they do have a catapult coming over, so
something a little bit unexpected, and we can see them trying their best. As you said before, you know, they don't really have that many tower hitters, so when they do get the chance, like with this Morphling and the Ursa up in the top lane, particularly with the double damage, they just want to take as much as they can.
Nice to create a little space up here for the Morphling to farm. I think we'll see the Morph playing up here on the top side of the map quite a bit. I guess we mentioned it briefly, but I guess that's the other thing to look at this game, is if it goes late, the Morphling is going to suffer so much against the AA as well. I really think that if this goes too late, then I do kind of think Fnatic just win by default, just by nature of the matchups.
Yeah, just the scaling overall. But you know, he's starting to have a bit of a game, the Morphling, which is you know, getting a bit nicer. Obviously, he hasn't really clashed with the OT yet, so I'm sure he would really look to flex if he did. But
kills here could be nice. Abed,
the drums as well.
All right, they're waiting with the Rolling Thunder. Gonna get the glimpse back into the Static Storm kinetic field. Abed's still alive though. Can he get another imprisonment out? They don't quite have the damage. He's still surviving. Imprisons himself now. Buys himself a few more seconds. Ohio's gonna be brought down, and Fnatic are turning this around in a big way. Felix will be the next one to die. Ice rolling through onto him. Yamate, they don't get the lucky shot proc, but I don't think they even need it. as Fnatic bring everybody to this fight. Ice waiting on the swashbuckle, and that'll finish it off. That is a
really nice
4 for 1.
Yeah, really nice ward placement as well, just guaranteeing that swashbuckle through to hit there. Nice and deep, gives a lot of information about any sort of rotations coming from Warriors Gaming. And we saw DJ as well, you know, he after the AA was the only one left, he just TP'd straight up to that top lane, stopped the Morphling from V farming. Obviously they did lose that 4 to 1.
Oh no, Ice, Ice, Ice. Trapped up on the high ground here. He's got a swashbuckle off cooldown. Alright, swashbuckle away. Time to keep on running.
Charges.
He's already used his TP, so he's got a long journey. He's probably just gonna jump up onto the high ground. He's okay, he's fine. That's space created. Alright. Oh, DJ. Bit of danger. Gonna go for the turnaround. Morphling with the shackle. Make sure that they steal a little bit more gold. Again, can't really fight against the OD, so just running away from him.
Definitely not, and I believe that's, yeah, 2 drums that they've got on the bounty as well as the Ursa at this point, so going into the medallion next, so definitely does reach a little bit of a power spike after he gets all of that online, but at that point, be a couple of more Midas uses coming out of Fnatic. See that nearly hitting level 10 on the lifestealer. OD obviously having a very strong game, almost hitting his level 12, so might not be enough, that little bit of minus armor to be able to turn this around.
Yeah, it still feels like the clock is really ticking. Ice just continuing to make space, fighting here on mid. Nico Baby waiting for his opportunity after the Rolling Thunder ends. Ice Blast flying in, that should be the end of Yamate. Nice snipe from Jabs. Yeah, he did so much damage in that bottom fight as well, and now Felix also caught out. He's gonna get imprisoned up. DJ waiting as the Hex has the shackles. Oh. Okay, a little bit of a misstep there from Fnatic. I think they're still gonna get this kill just fine, but yeah, Felix buying them a little bit more time.
Precious seconds.
Abed didn't even continue chasing, he just walked back to continue farming mid. Knew that they had that kill finished.
Trust in his team.
Yeah. And with that, Fnatic taking over the net worth lead at this point. Warriors Gaming really need to get this Ursa online, but still a little bit to go until he gets his Blink Dagger up. And they actually know that he's here with this Sentry Ward, so I think there's not going to be a big surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just, Ahai's really just following around MP at this point. You know, his net worth lead that he did have a bit earlier on, it's kind of faltered a little bit, falling relatively even with the Ursa, so basically on par. Definitely not quite as dire of a situation as it was earlier on for Warriors Gaming.
Yeah, and MP not going to be going for the Radiance build here. Jabs was trying to grab this bounty and line up an Ice Blast, but it was just standing still and does get caught out quickly by the Vendetta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lifestealer not going to be going for Radiance. Just Armlet being built up. SNY wants to get a little bit more active, a bit more aggressive. Take the fight to Warriors Gaming.
Through from Ice, so he'll be able to hit onto a few.
Oh, big damage under the Morphling, gets brought down immediately, couldn't morph into strength at all. Nyx Assassin being controlled. He'll be the next one to fall. Fnatic just obliterate Warriors Gaming. Everybody arriving at just the right time. And they also get the Mass Serpent Wards down to secure this tier 1 tower. What a nice rotation. And Warriors Gaming really just didn't know what happened at all there.
Yep, using that Infest Bomb to its fullest potential, dropping the Sanities, just not even giving Warriors Gaming any sort of time to react. So a lot of that dropping, as you said, without any sort of Strength Morph coming off. Also getting Tower, they also de-warded, so it's really nice engagement coming out of.
So with all those ults used, Warriors Gaming have to go right now. They've got the Blink Dagger on the Ursa, they gotta get a smoke going, or find something with this Vendetta. Though Fnatic probably know that they're looking for this as well. You see Abed, he's playing near a sentry. We've got MP playing nice and safe all the way over in the Tri-Camp area. So it's going to be difficult to find a kill here.
Absolutely. See the Nyx Assassin trying to rotate through, but they've got the Observer Ward as well as the sentry there. So Abed able to just back off. Probably head more towards the Tri-Camp. I guess he doesn't really want to overlap his farm with a Lifestealer, but actually going very, very deep and aggressive into this mid lane.
Yeah. Oh, he did just see a few heroes on that ward as it got dewarded, but Warriors Gaming trying to pincer a bit here. The Fnatic just going to keep moving east. Keep on drifting over, steal some farm out of the Radiant jungle. This has been a really good couple of minutes for them. They took that fight, and now they've managed to find way more farm on the map. Warriors Gaming have just been on a wild goose chase this entire time. And oh, they're waiting on the high ground. Ohio, if he doesn't get any tracks out, this is going to be a bad fight. They burst the backline instead first. The two supports immediately dead. Ohio also falling. Pangolier in some trouble. Morphling does manage to bring him down, but it's a pittance. A 3-for-1.
And DJ's got his Mass Serpent ward, so it doesn't even need to drop this bot lane. The tier 2 tower is already so low. Just be able to right-click it down very easy.
Execution in these team fights from Fnatic is just so good.
Rotating through.
MP needs to be a little bit careful. DJ is still here to help out. Alright, stun coming in. Shaman does still have his shackles available, but with the 2 cores on top of him, nowhere to really go, and a little bit of trouble for MP's already used the rage, gets glimpsed back. He's got the TP available. Can he actually rage TP his way out of this here? They're going to try with the Ursa damage. Is it enough? Couldn't toggle the armlet, it looks like. Or may have tried to, but still gets brought down. Alright, well...
Felix on top of Arbed as well.
Top tower is under attack.
So
no follow-up, really, unfortunately. Nobody in the neighborhood.
Really scouting him out. Maybe just giving that extra space.
He needs to be careful that he doesn't get dusted as they go for this dust on Ohio, actually.
Bounty, yeah.
That's how it's done.
But it does give that Morphling the freedom to know, right, no one is going to be able to 100 to 0 me. You know, Shadow Shaman's really testing this farm that he's getting. He's climbed up to 2nd net worth, so looking a bit more happy about that. Looks like he's building into the Sanjay Yasha, really going for that fighting build. The Bounty Hunter as well, obviously going for a bit more of that sustain. Built up the hood for himself. Just all these little items that stack little by little in these team fights that are able to just improve by so much.
Felix, nice blast coming in. It's going to be a finish off for Jabs. They do get the little bit of control onto Abed. They've got the glimpse available. Going to bring him back in. Running forward onto the imprisonment. Abed won't be able to blink out here. Big trouble. He'll be brought down. Ice still fighting. Everyone else a little bit late to the party. Lifestealer's walking down the mid lane to get here, but just going to have to turn tail and run. And Warriors Gaming do find 2 fantastic pickoffs. Maybe they can finally take out this mid-tier 1 tower. Or they could go for Roshan.
Yeah, that'd be my thought as well. You know, Nico Baby already walking into there. Do have the Blightstone as well on this Bounty Hunter, so be able to take it down a little bit faster.
Need someone else to tank. Ursa doesn't have lifesteal. Oh, DJ. Oh no, DJ. Invis rune. Oh my god, and an Ice Blast as well. Master for Ward's down. Control onto the Ursa. He's dead. Jabs finds that kill. They could have waited a little bit longer. I think they could have snatched this Roshan, but... Alright, Warriors Gaming now coming in, taking control over the pit as Yamate with a quick pause. He's looking very dead. This cold feet's about to proc on him.
Yeah, I think so as well, but is the 2 cores on Fnatic's side respawning up now as well, so despite the fact that the Ursa was buying back and looking to TP back into this fight, could be contested by the Pango as well as the OD, able to rotate back in there.
Yeah, Jabs has some sentries as well, so Felix, only a little bit of duration left on this Vendetta. Alright. Okay, Yamate actually going to be alright. They're heading back into the pit. They don't have the stack. It's taking them a little bit longer. They're jumping in. Rolling Thunder. Controlling the Ursa. This is a terrible place for him to be fighting. Standing's Eclipse gets dropped down. Who gets the Aegis? It will be the Morphling, and he manages to wave his way out of there. It is still a dieback for the Ursa. Now they get the imprisonment onto the Morph. He's low on mana, getting slowed down. Kinetic Field, along with a stun, trying to protect him. The Shrine isn't available. They're just going to have to fight this out. DJ does have a Hex waiting for him once he respawns. Going to be looking for it now. Ice Blast also coming in. Morph not going to survive, I don't think. Does manage to get off to the side, but Ice still on top of him. He's trying for the TP out, but it's too much damage. He shatters. And now Bounty Hunter also getting shackled up, controlled, dusted, hexed, everything else, as Fnatic will clean up that Aegis, clean up the follow-up kill, and take another good fight.
Man, Yamase had the Static Storm there. You know, they were clumped up around that Bounty Rune area. Could he have potentially got that off and maybe saved the Morphling? I think the Aegis was just done. Like, that was a foregone conclusion. But, you know, maybe able to force him to survive for that second one. You know, Static Storm, not the longest cooldown. So
there are a lot of blinks, though, I think is the issue. So once they get out, he waveforms away, they run out of the Static Storm. He's only got 1 point in the kinetic field, which is a little bit unusual, going for more points in the Thunderstrike for a little bit more damage. I don't know what they do now, honestly. Losing that Aegis immediately, I think, has just completely derailed their entire game plan. Like,
particularly the dieback, right? Like, it was so close to be able to pick it off, and it was actually the Rolling Thunder that just came off cooldown as well for Ice. You know, TP's back in. It was actually still about 10 seconds on cooldown when he TP'd into that shrine, and just the timing around it.
Yeah, it's really setting back Ursa's item progression as well.
Is under attack.
He would definitely love to, love to be able to pick up that BKB just so that he can freely teamfight.
Yeah.
So, have Yamate get picked off here. We need the Rolling Thunder for it.
Nice blast, a little bit off the mark. Nice. Rolling Thunder through. Needs the Swashbuckle to finish it. There you go. He's also got a shield crash to get up onto the high ground. Yeah, he's dead, though. Felix is waiting for him. Okay, not the best 1-for-1 there. Abed now getting chased. Is going to get stunned up. Fnatic getting a little bit too big for their britches. There is going to be the potential for an imprisonment into a blink away. Abed actually just walking it out here. And alright, there's the blink. Jabs is tracked. I think he's in some pretty big trouble. DJ not even going to try and help him out. It looks like. Oh, buyback from the Pangolier. They actually want to try and take this fight. Ohio being controlled. Ice comes in with the Swashbuckle. They've disarmed the Bounty Hunter. Felix going to try for the TP out. They've got somebody imprisoned over here. That is the Morphling. That does manage to rage up, turn into the Lifestealer, and TP his way out of there. So they bait the buyback and end up losing nobody. Very nice disengage.
Yeah, nicely done. I mean, there's been a few really bad moments for Warriors Gaming, but some really good ones as well. You know, it seems like their pickoff has been working really well. They're working really well with Chuan. Seems like a pretty good connection here. They just need to, I suppose, have that team fight impact that Fnatic have really developed over the past few months.
My problem is that the game still just isn't progressing in any meaningful way for Warriors Gaming. Like, Tier 1 still stands mid, Tier 1 still stands bottom. They've got no map control to really speak of. It's, nice. A little bit of trouble. Does have the Rolling Thunder. So Swashbuckle a little bit further away. Ooh, Static Storm just a little bit too late. They're going to keep on chasing him, but I think he's going to be fine. Blink Dagger's coming back off cooldown. So he's out of there. That's just space created.
Yeah, as you said, only one Tier 1 taken. They don't even have the luxury of the Aegis anymore with the Ursa pick. It's a lot harder for them to forward. Nyx Assassin, he's actually built straight Lotus Orb. What are your thoughts on it?
I can see the idea of it being good against the Shadow Shaman, but I don't know. Personally, not a huge fan. I think I would have preferred to see a Force Staff, to be honest. Better against the Lifestealer and similar in effectiveness, to my mind, against the Shadow Shaman. DJ is the one with the Lifestealer infested in him right now. I have no idea why that's the case. He doesn't even have a Blink Dagger. Yeah, Glimpse attempted onto MP, but he's just going to rage that one off. And Fnatic, I'm not really sure if they need to keep making these excursions over onto Warriors Gaming side of the map. Like, the nature of the position that they're in right now is that they do want to pressure the opposing jungle and, like, keep warding there and keep on fighting, but I think it's handing Warriors Gaming opportunities.
And they didn't have the backup. Oh, Ohio walking up onto the high ground with the Sentry.
Jabs getting going on. Ice jumping in here. Who can he find? Felix getting locked down. MP now running his way over. The Rage running out on the Morphling. Tries to go for the Bounty Rune. Not going to help him. He's only got a little bit of mana left. One more waveform to get himself further back. Ohio's throwing out these tracks like his life depends on it. And still looks like they will not be able to find any kills from it, though.
Liking Nico Baby's movement, though. Didn't commit to that team fight. Farmed the bot lane. TP'd up. Got the bounty runes. Looks like he might be heading to top lane. And yeah, Roshan's not going to spawn for at least another.
Yeah. He does have his BKB now, so should be a little bit better equipped to fight Ice. Bit of a dangerous spot. But I mean, Abed is in the neighborhood, and there's actually a bunch of help here. That's the 10-second BKB charge used. Is it going to actually get them anything here? Warriors Gaming's running forward. Felix making his way in. Nico Baby trying to lock down onto Abed. He's going to get the blink away after this imprisonment. Unless they can line up a stun. Trouble for Felix as he gets locked down. They're looking for the glimpse back onto Abed. Will be able to focus him down. They're still fighting.
He used his BKB.
Around the Mass Serpent wards.
Abed used his BKB as well. 10 seconds and then just immediately dead.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It's not ideal.
Not ideal. As you were saying before, I think I completely agree. If it does go later on, it probably favors Fnatic a bit more. But in these early games, early game team fights, I would say it's probably the OD's BKB that's going to be much more important just to have up at that maximum duration, just because you want to be able to sustain and last until that late game.
Yeah, I think it's tough because the Ursa can pop somebody if he has a low duration BKB, but the OD really needs more of his BKB duration against the Disruptor and the Nyx Assassin.
Actually got an ATOS on the AA as well.
Yep, MP, bit of trouble. Tracked up. They're thinking about a turnaround here. They do have Abed respawning. This is a dangerous spot for Warriors Gaming to be in. They are going to get the Ice Blast over onto the Morphling. He doesn't have the Rage available. They will manage to focus down onto Jabs, but Abed's coming in. He drops the hammer, and they will find these 2 kills. They're chasing forward for a little bit more. MP's pretty fast. Looking towards Felix. Can they find him? Stun available in 3 seconds time. He has been silenced up. MP, alright, immediately reflects the open wounds, but doesn't matter. Rages it off, and they will chase down for a 3rd kill. Warriors Gaming, I don't know about that dive at all. They had to know that the OD was respawning soon. Abed even just running straight in at bottom. I don't know what he is doing down here, but I guess wants a few more stacks. Yeah, there's nobody else alive, so nothing really to be afraid of. Nico Baby, not going to risk anything, just blinks back into the base, and Fnatic.
And as you said, right, like, no need to dive past the tier 1 tower. They've had such difficulty in taking even the tier 1s up to this point, and they actually had the double damage on the Morphling, so the tower after the glyph was only at about 300 health, so they could have easily just right-clicked down the tower, taken that, backed off, tried to maybe take the tier 1 tower in the bot lane, head to tier 2 in top, but just a little bit extra.
This is trouble. Gets the Swashbuckle down into the low ground. Rolling Thunder. Static Storm Kinetic Field. I feel like the Static Storm has done so little for Warriors Gaming this game. We have not seen any good combinations really for Yamate. Part of the problem is that they don't really have a whole lot of setup for it, right? It's either the Glimpse or the Nyx Assassin stun, but they have really struggled to use this big teamfight ult.
I think rather than the way that they're using it, which is more of a catch or pick off, you know, way. I think they've had a couple of decent times where it's been used on the OD, but I think maybe just saving it for more of a counter initiation. Having Nico Baby go in on the Ursa, you know, follow it up with the Bounty Hunter, the Nyx Assassin, and then when they do try and turn around
Oh my god, Yamase just walked straight in the top lane, got immediately Mass Serpent wards into an Ice Blast.
Yeah, DJ, he wanted that kill. I mean, he's level 18. He's doing really well. Ahead of Ice's Pango. Obviously he has the experienced talent, but, you know, it's a classic DJ game.
Yep. And I think you're right, just to like expand on your point a little bit. I think if the Morphling isn't going to buy BKB, because he's going for this Scotty, then I think the Disruptor needs to be saving his Glimpse and his Static Storm as much as possible to interrupt, like, Shackle and whatnot. Because they're 2 amazing long-range abilities to interrupt Shackle and to, like, kind of lock down the Shadow Shaman, or at least interrupt him. But it's not really happening. Now they are going to get a Roshan. I guess they give the Aegis to the Morphling since he doesn't have BKB, so this build is now looking a little bit stronger, as he's also going to get his Scotty in a second.
Definitely welcome for them, and even popping the BKB just to ensure he's not locked down like the previous fight. A bit of PTSD coming out for.
Yeah, worried about the Pango jumping in, perhaps. Abed does have a Hex available, so even with the Aegis, this could be a dangerous fight. They're looking for some kind of initiation. Ice thinking about it, but Warriors Gaming just backing themselves up. Resetting a bit, probably waiting for that Ursa BKB to cool back down, and they'll then look to make a bit of an excursion out onto the map. Maybe smoke to some of their vision or something along those lines.
Really proactive. Ice has the Lifestealer infested into him, has actually the backup, so this is a much more coordinated scouting mission. It's coming out from ISI's DJ, as well as MP.
Warriors Gaming are threatening top, but they're about to get forced back at bottom. Double catapults. Running in onto Ice here. Hex comes out. Fnatic just gonna run for the hills. BKB getting popped in Ohio. Wants to chase forward. DJ looking for the turnaround. Pops down the static kill. Pops down the wards. Gonna try for the TP out as they lose Yamate. DJ, alright, won't be able to TP successfully. Ohio getting focused. Does get bashed up. Abed jumps down onto the low ground after getting open wounds. They're still chasing for that kill. Abed now forced into popping his BKB, but he can't escape against the Scotty. Just needs to try and turn and fight this. He does have a Hex back off cooldown in 5 seconds time, so the Morphling needing to be a little bit careful, though he does have the Aegis. MP still fighting with the bashes. Abed waiting for this Astral Imprisonment to come back off cooldown, but unable to use it on himself. Now Ice also getting caught, and that is a 4 for 2. Only the Bounty Hunter and the Disruptor going down on the side of Warriors Gaming, and just a really bizarre place for Fnatic to take a fight.
Absolutely, and you know, that's 2 cores that actually are no buyback for the next 50 seconds. 50 plus. That'll be a tier 2 going the way of Warriors Gaming. The only buyback they had to expend was on their position 5 Disruptor. He actually got off a decent Static Storm in that fight, but it only took out DJ, but it was still pretty influential.
This is so satisfying for Warriors Gaming to finally be able to come and push some buildings. It's taken them a long time, but they're going to get the tier 3 here, it looks like. Still 2 cores dead for a long while. They will be able to head over towards top if they want to keep this going. MP trying to finish off this tier 1 tower over on the top side of the map. Not a whole lot that he can really do to defend, so just getting whatever he can for his team, but Fnatic, big blunder, and now going to cost them a lot of their base. Even with the OD, I don't know if they can fight. I think they need the Pango back.
Warriors Gaming respecting it. Maybe just taking this this shrine, opening up future Roshan attempts.
Well, they're...
Look how deep that top lane's pushed in, though.
In a decent spot. I think they'll be able to go and reset that, no problem. Or they can just cut these waves. Yeah, you can see the Morphling heading over to do that right now. They definitely need to go and take out these towers bottom. There's like no real motivation to, even if you like win a fight now, you just get maybe, you know, some of the top racks, but I don't think you can end the game. So this bottom lane needs to be the next big objective, and I imagine that Fnatic are going to set themselves up to try and control this bottom section of the map and make it really difficult for Warriors Gaming to ever get the creep wave close to those towers. But they need to step up the game a little bit. We've seen in this game that Fnatic are capable of these amazing, ultra coordinated fights, but it feels like the last 3 or 4 fights they just haven't had everybody there. It's been like 3 heroes getting initiated on, the Lifestealer is trying to walk over, or one of the cores is trying to walk into position, and it's just really not happening. Now we have an Abyssal Blade on the Ursa. Nico Baby looking very scary. Actually, #1 on net worth.
Yeah, #1, and they do infest the Shadow Shaman again, but this time he actually has the Blink Dagger, so let's give them some form of initiation, enables them to get right on top, and then the Pango Rolling Thunder can sort of act as that secondary initiation after that, so disrupt the team fight in that way. But it feels like every single time that they've tried to actually go in and be a bit more proactive on Fnatic, they've lost. Like, unless they've actually had vision of the surrounding area, Warriors Gaming have been able to position themselves well and turn the team fight around.
Yeah. And both teams playing the vision game pretty heavily at this point. I think they've both realized that this is the make or break moment for both teams. If Fnatic managed to hold through another couple of team fights, I think they get up another round of items on the OD, and that's where things start to get really quite scary. But Warriors Gaming, if they win this next fight, then that'll potentially just win them the game at this stage. So both teams picking up gems, both teams playing together, trying to control space around the map, but Fnatic do sort of cede this bottom lane to Warriors Gaming, so they're going to be able to take out this tier 1 tower and maybe even the tier 2 pretty quickly. Fnatic have to decide what they're going to do. Still quite a while away from the Roshan respawn, so that's not really on anybody's mind just yet.
One thing they're a little bit mindful of is that the Aegis did just expire, so to be very, very careful that he does not have buyback. So if he was to go down to any sort of rotation coming from Fnatic, it could potentially be disastrous, and lane of racks, maybe even the throne.
careful. Fnatic coming back to defend, just sending in Ice to begin with. The most concerning thing for Fnatic is that they don't have any way to save the OD if he's the one that gets initiated on. Like, you know that Ursa just desperately wants to pop, like, blink BKB Abyssal Blade on the OD and kill him with no rebuttal available at all. Like, Fnatic don't even have a Force Staff or a Glimmer Cape or anything.
Here we go. Initiation coming through. I think DJ will probably blink up onto this.
To fight. Warriors Gaming have great vision here. They're going to go onto the Morphling first. He gets hexed up. But they've got the Abyssal Blade onto the OD. He survives for a little bit longer. MP actually the one to make the space. Abed running backwards. Ohio still chasing him. Felix trying to finish him off as well. Ursa still alive, as is the Morphling. They're pretty healthy, and Abed's dead. He does have a buyback available. They bring down the Nyx Assassin. Static Storm Kinetic Field controlling the Pangolier. Morphling coming back over towards him. They want to bring down the Pango, but he's still quite tanky. Swashbuckles down onto the low ground. Ohio now dead to the long-range Shackles, and they're just going to look to escape. Is there going to be a bash from MP? He gets it! The Rage TP will not be successful from the Morphling, and Ice is looking to continue the pursuit. They get the disarm and the slow. Ice still chasing. Oh, this is a low mana Morphling. Nico Baby's coming back in with another Abyssal Blade. Can they actually kill off the Pango, though? I don't think they're going to be able to. Ursa has to run and leave the Morphling behind. They still have buybacks on the Radiant side, but that was pretty expensive for Fnatic with the OD buyback coming back in.
He didn't really do much, right, after the buyback. He kind of just was present at the team fights, but he wasn't that turning point factor, so he really need to do it. So does open up a win condition for Warriors Gaming if they do come out on the better end of the next team fight that's going to be coming through, and Roshan could be up in the next 20 seconds or so, so might be the next objective that's really highly coveted.
The one saving grace for Fnatic might be that these two supports have a ton of gold, and both of them are going for a Force Staff. DJ has 2300, Jabs has 2100, so double Force Staff is going to help out so much against the Abyssal Blade. They don't want to use this Morphling buyback if they can help it. Felix needs to be careful. He's being hexed up. They're jumping in with the Ursa. Can they save this OD? Abed gets the BKB off. Another bash would probably do it. Nico Baby's still chasing him. Ice doesn't get the silence or the disarm. He's going to run forward now. No BKB available for the Ursa. He does have a cheese, though. Morphling coming in. Ice Blast gets laid down. Does connect on the Morphling as well, so he won't be able to morph strength here. They're looking for the Ice kill. They do manage to get it. Jabs also being locked down. MP focusing. They want the Morphling. Can they get him? Just gets caught by the cold feet. He's still morphing strength, though, and he's actually going to be okay. On the other side of the fight, they finally bring down Abed, and that might actually be the game. 110 seconds on the sidelines for Abed. Fnatic, can they actually hold this? Bottom lane's pushing in pretty heavily.
I don't think they care. Like, they just want to take full advantage of this OD being... Yeah.
They took the tier 2 earlier, so Megas or try and end the game. Either decision is available. They gotta be careful. There is a glyph available, so...
And they do need to be mindful of this mid lane as well. You know, got the lifestealer there. The creeps are now in the base, so... Backdoor protection is on.
For the initiation. They go in. Ursa first. He does have his BKB off cooldown soon, but DJ finds the positioning on him. The Force Staff not going to be enough to keep him alive. Ursa's brought down. That's 115 seconds dead. MP in the thick of things here. Ohio with the BKB. Huge two-man stun from Felix, locking down MP. The armlet toggles, though, are keeping him alive. MP finally brought down, but he does have a buyback. They're locking down the Morphling. He's also silenced. Now the Shackle buying back on the Lifestealer. Morphling, can he escape from the base? Just trying to man fight. Gonna go for the waveform, TPing out. Do they have any interrupts? DJ... What, did he not have the...
He must
have the cooldowns? Or...
But he had the range, he's got the Aether Lens, so...
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Got it out, but... Well, it did cost them, I believe, the Lifestealer buyback on that one. So... Oh, it doesn't really seem worth it for Warriors Gaming to have that sort of trade, particularly when we're in a 5v4 situation. Yeah, and they would have seen.
They didn't manage to save the Ursa at all. That was the big problem. Just letting DJ walk up like that.
Just going on earlier with one of your earlier points, you know, I pointed out the Nyx Assassin picking up the first item, Lotus Orb. How different do you think this game would have gone if it was, let's say, the Ancient Apparition, for example, when it instead of a Rod of Atos? You know, it does give that extra bit of save to the OD, right?
I still think the Force Staff would have been better. I think Jabs wishes that he'd gone for Force Staff instead of Rodivatos. But he's got the Force Staff now. Oh, they're going on to Ice Ice Ice. They need to be careful. Still 30 seconds to go on the Ursa. Ice 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 not dead yet. Needs to get the Rolling Thunder out. Thinks about going for it. Ohio almost down. BKB keeping him alive a little bit longer. MP using the Infest pretty aggressively.
Would have been a dieback if it went down. Maybe that's why it was really going for it.
Yeah. Alright, they want this tier 3 tower. Glyph is being used. Ursa's back up soon. Felix does have his Aghanim Scepter. Long range stun out onto the Lifestealer. MP needs to be careful. Did buy back a little bit earlier. Roshan is up though. This is Aegis Cheese and Refresher Shard. I think whoever gets that is going to get the game. Although this next fight is also going to be important, and Morphling still doesn't have a BKB available. They're jumping forward. Abed looks like he's going to be the target. He pops the BKB, looking for the turnaround. Felix being locked down. He's trapped inside of the Mass Serpent Woods, and Ohio is also being isolated. They get the Hex up onto the Morphling. He's dead. 120 seconds. No buyback, it looks like. Oh, he did use it earlier, and Fnatic with that may have just won this game. Dragging it back.
Put out the Ursa.
Oh, Ursa just walking forward into the chain stun, and Warriors Gaming will be forced to tap out. They call the GG.
Oh,
so much closer than I expected.
Yeah, and how agonizing must that be, right? Like, you've taken out the OD, no buyback, you're pushing onto the high ground, you've got all the momentum, and then Fnatic, just that team fight, is able to just turn things around, and we see how it ends with a Fnatic victory from some really great high ground vision around that Radiant Secret Shop.
I really don't think you can give Fnatic the Shadow Shaman. It's just
no.
It's just too high impact. Like whenever DJ is on this hero, he just does too much.
Unless he has a Lifestealer inside of him without a black, then
yeah,
he walks in and dies.
Then he walks in and dies. Yes, but other than that, he just seems to have way too much impact. And I think in theory they knowingly let it through. They were like, okay, you're gonna pick the Shadow Shaman, we're gonna have the Disruptor. That's our answer, kind of. Or the Nyx Assassin maybe as well was hoping to hunt for him in the backlines, and they could kill the Shadow Shaman first or something. But still, that is not at all what I expected. I really thought Fnatic were going to come in here. Like, if I don't know how much stock you place in Gosu Gamers rankings, right? But Fnatic are #1 in SEA far and away. I think WarriorsGaming.Unity are ranked like 20-something.
Yeah.
In Southeast Asia,
there's an Aussie team ranked #4. Technically, they only play against other Aussie teams, but they're up there.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well done, WarriorsGaming.Unity. Fnatic, I think they need to they got to clean it up a little bit for game #2. We saw some flashes of brilliance, but we also saw some pretty throwy moves where they were just walking onto the enemy side of the map and getting caught and not fighting with all 5 heroes. They really won this one by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, and Warriors Gaming, it felt like the longer the game went along, with the exception of that high ground push, the more comfortable they got playing together, and the more they kind of got into their groove. It was the Disruptor role kind of being used as a bit more of that rather than the first initiation, because the amount of times that they just got away on the Pango, just used to the Rolling Thunder, through BKBs, all these other sorts of things. It just seemed like it was going Fnatic's way, and to get so close and just fall short, I'm sure they're really going to be wanting to come back in game 2 and really put it to Fnatic.
Alright guys, we're going to take a quick break. Make sure you stay tuned in. There's actually so much Dota action happening right now, so I will not begrudge you at all if you want to jump over onto one of the other streams. I think we've got 4 SEA games happening at the same time, and 4 China games. So there are definitely just plenty of qualifier action for you guys to watch if you're hankering for some Dota. But we will be back here in a couple of minutes for game #2 of Fnatic versus Warriors Gaming Unity. See you then.